Was this in the works for a long, long time, the Brady and Gronk reunion in Tampa Bay?
I'm sure it was a conversation, when Brady signed. I mean, listen, Brady recommended himself to Tampa. I mean, he picked Tampa to be the destination. And I said this from day one, that he was going to, press his ideas and his presence and, try to help in any form or fashion, getting this team to where it needs to be so that he can win championships. And, there are some pieces that obviously, he'll be in the blend with, whether it's players or the play calling, the playbook. But, I'll tell you what, usually there's a mole out there, right? You usually hear these things. I think the Buccaneers, at least from an organization standpoint, have to feel good about that because, I'm pretty close with the organizations with some folks, and they didn't know about it. So you got to feel good about your internal people as far as keeping a secret. But what a game changer. I mean, obviously Gronk has to get in that football mode, train himself. Being out a little over a year and not playing the game and training like you're playing the game is difficult. But he's in great shape. He won't have to put all his weight back on. And, it's not like he was kind of training as if a player was injured coming back off a year. He wasn't around doing football stuff. He was enjoying himself. So if anything, he's coming back healthy. Now he just has to get some of that explosive training back in his regimen.
Well, I know Bruce Arians is tremendous with quarterbacks, and that had to be a big selling point for Tom to go to Tampa. But Father Time has yet to lose. How many years do you legitimately think he has left?
Yeah, that's a great question because I worry. I mean, anytime you're up in the 40s, I mean, regardless of how you feel, Achilles and ligaments and joints, those things age. They don't rejuvenate over time. They do get older. Now, he may be able to slow those things down with some of the training techniques and his diet and all these things, this TB12 stuff that he's heavily involved in. But, look, I give him a lot of credit. The guy's driven the play. The most important thing for guys his age is the desire to go out there, train, go through the rigors of training camp, go through the process. And you're talking 20 years playing football. That gets tedious. I mean, that's what took Peyton out. I mean, these guys are tireless workers, and to put that commitment in year and year out is a physical and mental and emotional drain. So to want to do that again and continue to do that and prove himself and know the expectation eyeballs are on you in this season because you're not in a Patriots uniform, I give the guy credit, and that gives me enough assurance that he's trying to be as successful as possible.
Anthony Becht doesn't go by TB. He's one of the few guys because, my name is Anthony, but everybody calls me Tony. Now, have you ever been called Tony, or is it just AB? Because you'd be another TB, and there's a whole bunch of them out there.
Yeah, so my mom, my family, no one wants to hear Tony, but my coaches and some of my teammates over the years, they all called me Tony. So that's where I got it the most. But friends and family would be Anthony or Ant or Ant.
Or Yo-Ant. or Yo-Cuz or anything else that they call. So now there was a video posted by Barstool, and I don't know if it was yesterday. They made it look like it was Tom Brady walking through the airport, and then there's Gronk with him, but he's wearing all Patriots gear. That wasn't him picking him up yesterday, right? That had to be an earlier video from another time, as far as I'm concerned. Right? I
gotta imagine so. I don't think anybody's stepping into the airport quite yet, especially in this time. But look, they got a lot of cool videos popping up that they've done in the past. I just think we've never really focused on them as much. Being that they're an item now and back on the field. So I believe Gronk was in the area in general just because of the whole WWE stuff which he was training and doing things in Orlando. So I believe also too, from what I've been told, during his playing career, he did have a place down at the beach in the Clearwater St. Pete area.
Well, who doesn't?
Exactly. Which he sold, I believe, but he did have one. So he's familiar with the area, which is good. And listen, guys, when I played in the back end of my career, going to Arizona and some of these warm weather places, man, you get a little more bounce in your step. You feel good. Your joints are better. You wake up at 70 degrees. You're feeling good. So those are things that kind of give you a little bit of that youthful feeling too, being down here in Tampa Bay.
Well, Anthony, speaking of the WWE, the big question is, does Gronk have to give up the 24/7 championship belt to return to play for the Buccaneers?
I kind of laughed. Is this entertainment stuff, just you're done now, right? Is this even, why are we even making a comment about it? Because I did see that post the WD put out that letter saying, at any point at any time. But I can't imagine once he signs that dotted line, everything's official. that he's going to be anywhere near a ring.
Now, there's I got to give love to one of the players down there with the Buccaneers who currently wears number 87, the Clemson star, young kid, great guy, Jordan Leggett, who jokingly tweeted out yesterday, you know what? I'll take $1 million from Tom Brady to give up my number. And then people were giving him a hard time, and he was joking. And then he later, even his wife chimed in, but then he later said, you know what? When all is said and done, I'll probably have to pay Gronk to get that number. And so obviously he's a young player, good young kid, and then everybody's making fun of him because he does wear number 87, and you know how it works, Anthony, when you got to get it from the guy who has it, and sometimes it's a case of beer, sometimes it's big money.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I know Jordan well when he was with the Jets, and he really hasn't established himself yet in Tampa. So I'll be honest with you, when he walks in the locker room, there may not even be a conversation. He'll be 47 when he does come in. You do have to watch, though, when you put those tweets out. People are so critical and get crazy now, especially these diehard fans. So you got to watch when you press the send button. But I don't know if he's got a lot of leverage and negotiating power. But I promise you this, being that if they're going to be in the same room with each other, at least through training camp and things of that nature before the actual roster's set, I'm sure Gronk will do him right and then take care of him.
Well, what do you think happens with the other two tight ends? I mean, obviously they'll keep one of the two. I don't see them keeping all three, O.J. Howard or Cameron Braid. Which one do you think gets moved?
Well, I think O.J. has some value to him. I believe, the Buccaneers would have liked to have got something done before this prior season because, he wasn't really utilized as much and didn't really take advantage much of his opportunities. Bit of a down year for him. Do I believe in his skill set and do I think he's really good? I do. Bruce Arians has never been a tight end system. He doesn't really love that position, to be honest with you. He had a couple strong years with Heath Miller in Pittsburgh, but never more than one out of, I believe, 6 or 5 seasons where he had over 50 catches. So, at this point, I see a lot of flexed out things for Gronk. He'll be in line a little bit, but, two tight end will be crucial sets for this team. And, look, if they can't move OJ, that he'll be on the team, and that'll be a hell of a matchup. And, Cameron Braid is getting a little older. Where is his value in this as well? I mean, can you keep all three? You could. But, listen, I think the Buccaneers have their eyes set on right now getting a really good offensive tackle in the draft. And I just don't know if 14 is the spot where they're going to find one of the big four. So he may be part of a package deal maybe to move up, but we'll see on draft day.
Well, depending on which mock you look at, I mean, Andrew Thomas out of Georgia is one of the – and it's apparently now there's going to be a run on offensive linemen in the first round. Everybody was talking about the quarterbacks and all the other position players. Now it looks like offensive linemen, especially when you talk about Tampa where Tom Brady knows he needs to be protected because he's not very mobile. That looks like a lock that's going to happen, that they're going to get an offensive tackle, maybe even at 14 if they don't move.
Yeah, I think if they don't get one of the top four guys, and when I speak about the top four guys, I am talking about Thomas, Wirfs, Becton, or Wills out of Alabama.
Right.
The next wave of guys, Josh Jones, Austin Jackson, Urza Cleveland from Boise State, these guys aren't worth the 14th pick. You could trade down, go reverse, and maybe, try to bounce that second-round pick up a little higher in this year's draft to get that. An offensive lineman and a running back, a complete running back, someone that can catch the ball quite a bit out of the backfield is where they'll be eyeballing these things. If they have to stick with 14, they may have to pick the best available player, which I don't think they want to do. Normally, you see teams, they either, you draft for need or you draft for best available. In that situation, if you can't move that pick, I would certainly think that they might just go for the best available. I put my mock draft out, one of the million that are out there today on my Twitter site, Anthony_Becht, and I had them. I don't have any trades in my draft. I had them taking Gross Matos out of the defensive end from Penn State. So, again, do they need a rush in? Yeah, it'd be nice to have another guy. JPP's not getting any younger. But, again, if they have to draft at that spot, that might be the best player that they see on the board at that time.
So where does Tom Brady work out in the interim after getting thrown out of the public park?
At least he wasn't cuffed like the women were in Idaho today in the parking.
I'm sure Tom's listening to your program right now.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give him a heads up because all the fields and parks are obviously closed. I have a secret 50-yard turf field that my son's a quarterback. He's a high school quarterback that we go and use. Nobody knows about it. It's just north of where he's living. If he wants to get the troops together, I can set something up. It's wide open. Nobody goes there. But there is a secret spot. He does have to go out of his mold, and I may try to reach out to some of those guys and see if they need a place. But right now you can't really go anywhere. So
whoa! You're going to get arrested. The mayor of Clearwater is listening. The mayor of Tampa, the mayor of St. Pete, they're all listening. The mayor of Tampa, the mayor of St. Pete, they're going to come in there and they're going to fly drones over your secret practice 50-yard field, man. And they're going to come in there and cuff all you guys.
It's private location, which is interesting because it over supersedes all that other stuff, which is good. So I can't give you the location because they probably will kick me off. But as of now, we're getting our training in once a week.
I got a couple Chinese drones that we're going to fly over there, man, and make sure we keep an eye on you. I don't know about you, man. You guys from Delaware County, Pennsylvania. You guys get loose too much, man. Especially
you
when
can
you
move from Delco, but you can't take the Delco out.
That's exactly right.
Hey, Anthony Becht, great to talk to you, man. Appreciate you coming on with us, buddy.
You got it, guys. Enjoy the draft.